What's up, gang?
Dana, I guess overall thoughts. I mean, you had, as you said, one of the best fights we've ever seen on Contender Series, some incredible knockouts as well. So is there anything out of these five tonight that particularly stands out to you this evening?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if anything stands out, you got to look at Malcolm. Malcolm was the standout of the night. Comes out, finishes impressively, 8-0, 6 finishes, and you couldn't possibly look any better than he looked tonight, you know what I mean? He's the current MMA champion at 135 pounds in conflict MMA, you know, 30 years old, time to go. So get him in there and get him some fun fights.
Yeah, you look pretty spectacular. Bogdan and Aswell, you say the best fight ever. I guess not really 2 contracts, 1.5 contracts. Is that kind of what we're – so Aswell, you're saying –
No, not 1.5. I mean, listen, Bogdan won. It was an incredible fight. I gave them both their show and win and a bonus. So they both made great money tonight. And then Aswell has literally a cut this big on his eye right now. So that's going to take a while to heal properly. And then if anything falls out, Sean Shelby will put him right in the UFC.
Yeah. Do you have any word on his eye at all? I mean, I guess how bad it is, how he stitches, anything? What?
No, I went back there and it was bad. It's a bad cut. So usually they go in and sew them from the inside out, and maybe he'll get some big-ass scissors and take the stitches out himself. And any other questions?
I was going to keep talking about contenders.
I knew that was coming.
But
trust me.
Since you touched on that, do you want to touch?
I had to touch on it before somebody was going to go at me with that one.
Obviously, referring to Merab Dvalishvili once again taking to social media to.
Isn't he awesome? I think he's just fucking with me now, to be honest with you.
Have you spoken directly to him? I mean, obviously you were pretty public in what you said, but have you reached out to him and said, bro, what are you thinking? Or
no. Do what you want. Do what you want.
All right, we'll leave
it. Did you ever see the scissors they take stitches out with?
They don't look like those usually.
They're tiny, and they have that thing on there so you don't cut yourself. You know what I mean? They can slide them up under the stitches, and you don't cut yourself. And this dude had like fucking bush shears that he was using that you trim your fucking bushes with. The gardeners use. Whatever. Good for him.
All right. I was going to ask you about the bonuses. Are you able to disclose how much the value of those bonuses was?
Yeah, so both those guys got $5,000.
Awesome. So they get the full pack. Is that something you do very often behind the scenes, or is that kind of
I don't think I've ever done it. I don't know if I've ever done it. If I've ever done it, I don't remember it.
Nice. All right. Well, it was a special night. The other one that was unique tonight that I wanted to ask you about was the rematch, right, with W and Piccinini. What if they don't want a rematch? What if they don't agree?
They don't have to do anything. Then don't.
Look for another opportunity, or
absolutely, yeah. You know, the kid's undefeated. He can do what he wants. He's not under any obligation with us whatsoever. But you know, if you're smart, you make the rematch. You come back, episode 10, and you get some heat behind it, and I'm sure some people will want to see it, and not, you know, I'm sure it'll be a fun fight. He knows what he needs to work on. He's already faced him, so go back to the drawing board, work on some things he needs to work on, and I thought it was a better option than just saying, listen, you can't come in here and just try to hold somebody down and think you're going to get a contract. I actually thought, I told you, the significant strikes, he more than doubled significant strikes. 76 to 32. You saw 18 nasty leg kicks that landed to nothing. 18 to nothing. He clearly won the fight. The judges made a bad decision on that one. This kid's going to get the opportunity to come back and face the same guy and get to work on some of his mistakes. And if he takes the opportunity, awesome. And if he doesn't, that's fine too. It's up to him. It's his career.
I love it. All right, 2 other quick ones outside of tonight. I wanted to ask you about Saturday. Kyle Bahayo, what you thought of his performance. You got number 5 in the rankings. He's a new top 5. What do you think of his performance and kind of where he stands?
Yeah, I mean, the card this weekend was awesome. The whole card was great. And, yeah, it was I'm happy for him. Yeah, those opportunities, man, you take them, and you know, that's what happens.
Very nice.
Love it.
last thing for me, there were some reports coming out today that WWE is talking about moving their performance center here to Las Vegas. Does that have anything to do with the Apex construction?
It's none of my business.
So you're not aware of it or anything? Well, you may be aware of it.
I know nothing about it. It's none of my business. Let the WWE talk about their business.
Dana, did you see anybody that you said you would project, hey, this guy's going to be a star, like tonight that you saw Malcolm or anybody that really stood out that way to you?
Yeah, I thought Duffy looked good. That's the other thing you got to look at. Duffy was a 4-to-1 dog. He was a 4-to-1 dog in that fight. I thought Malcolm looked great. Yeah, I liked Andre. I liked his listen, Liam. How tough is Liam? I mean, this guy is an absolute dog. But Andre's shown some signs of a really high fight IQ. I loved how every time that Liam would put that leg forward, he would kick it every time he put it forward. Some of the combinations he threw, some of the counter punches he threw. He was fun to watch. He's only 26 years old. Give that guy a little more experience and get him into the UFC, see how he feels, see how he looks. You know, do I think this guy's going to be a big star? I have no idea. But my two guys tonight were Duffy and Malcolm. You know, and obviously I respect Daniel Cormier, and he thinks very highly of Nick. Nick just didn't show it tonight. But Nick's going to have the opportunity to go back, work on some things, and come back and change my mind.
As you're making your evaluation and you're looking at the fighters, do you kind of say, okay, how would he look against ex-UFC fighter? Like, do you project that far out, like, and just try to imagine them? No,
I don't think about that at all. We don't even talk about that stuff until we get back into matchmaking.
And just last thing, and I mean, we talked about Finney last week over and over and over, but the one point you made about Torres Finney last week, you said that he didn't get any fights, and he was on SiriusXM, did an interview, and he said that he was on The Ultimate Fighter, and I just wanted to...
We were just talking about that. So what happened was, I guess, he got picked to do The Ultimate Fighter, and then they told him he couldn't fight for X amount of months, and then he ended up not getting picked. So I didn't know that till tonight. But yeah, he had a rough year.
Dana.
Yep.
I was just with Dricus du Plessis. Are you planning on keeping him on the sidelines and waiting for South Africa to kind of figure out, or are you going to try and fight him sooner than I guess South Africa?
Who are you talking about? Dricus?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I'd like to fight him in South Africa.
And then Wang Dong, she came. The performance of the nights came out last week. She said that she didn't get a bonus, and then you said that you were out of town. You gave her $50K. I just wanted your thoughts on her debut.
Yeah. So I was out of town, and Sean, Mick, and Hunter were going over the bonuses, and they have their criteria on finishing Neil Magny. You know what I mean? And the rest of the bonuses that went out were absolutely the right choice and warranted. But when you and they look at the girl that she beat was this, when a woman knocks another woman out like she knocked her out, I just felt she deserved $50,000, so I did it.
And I don't know if you know the story, but she beat Valentina Shevchenko in kickboxing, and there's like this rivalry. And I was just with her being, I think she's 31. Is there a chance that maybe you push her, not necessarily go the Alex Pereira route, but kind of maybe push her a little quick?
Well, if you look at what the kickboxers have done in this sport, it's actually phenomenal. It starts with like Izzy and Joanna and Alex, and coming in from this from one-dimensional sport and being able to do what they've done here is incredible. So yeah, I wouldn't think that she can't do it too.
And I was just wondering if you saw your old pal Oscar De La Hoya's videos of him dancing in.
Unfortunately, yes, I did see those. Yes, and a new one came out today. It's yeah. Wow.
It was for cancer awareness, apparently. It's for a good cause.
What's that?
His videos were to raise awareness about cancer. It was for a good cause.
He definitely did that. He raised some awareness.
I just wanted to ask, did you spend some of your days this week just tagging John Jones in random Instagram posts that have nothing to do with him?
No. Did I mention to you guys that John Jones is the greatest of all time? Did I mention that? Yes.
Everyone knows that. It's him, Stipe, New York. So what's the delay in announcing it? Can we just officially announce it right now?
No, we still have fights in October that are coming up, and we're still working on the card. So it's not just about announcing a fight. It's about, we'll announce the card when the card is ready. But yeah, I mean, that's what we're targeting.
Dana, thank you for tonight. Two-part question.
Thank you.
On paper, the better card, name recognition, going up against #1 boxing guy. Can we expect that now for Mexican independence? And also, it's something that you probably have never been asked before, like going head-to-head, no problem against Canelo in a couple of weeks. How crazy is that? How's the energy back there?
What do you mean? What's the question you're asking me?
That
we're going head-to-head with Canelo
with the
on Mexican Independence Day.
And then also the standard that you guys continue setting with last year's Shevchenko, Grasso, and now leveling up with this and the Sphere. Is this going to be the standard to where we have International Fight Week, Madison, Square Garden, yada, yada, and then Independence is like a standard?
Yeah, I mean, we go to MSG every year, and yeah, I'm gonna go Mexican Independence Day every year here for the rest of my career, at least, no matter what's going on.
And going up against Canelo, it's kind of insane that you guys are just going this hard in the paint against the #1 guy who's probably the only pay-per-view star they have right now.
Well, I didn't determine to go up against him. We were already going. That was our date. We were going on that date, and then they announced they were going. Listen, I told you last week about it. MGM's guaranteeing the gate for that fight. So, yeah, they're guaranteeing the gate. So, yeah, why would they not go on that date if MGM's going to put up all the money?
All right, thank you, sir.
Does it create any, I don't know what the right word would be, but like MGM Resorts, if they've got such an investment in Canelo and Mexican Independence Day, and you guys have got the deal with the T-Mobile Arena, does it?
We went there last year. That was our date last year. And then without even asking us or talking to us, they gave the date away.
Traditionally, it is a boxing.
That's why I'm at the Sphere. I couldn't do the Sphere because I'm under contract with MGM. But because they fucked us, they let us do it.
You've said before that it's just a one and done, but with Riyadh season sponsorship, is the Riyadh season one and done for events in the US? Or could you leverage that sponsorship going forward to go back to the Sphere?
No, we wouldn't go to the Sphere, but yeah, we'll definitely do other things with them, during their season. I've created a great relationship with him, over the last couple of months, and I like him, and yeah, we're going to do some stuff together.
In the US, would the relationship be sponsorship?
Lots of things.
Can you elaborate?
No.
Following up
Yeah.
on that Noche UFC, I know you said Sphere is one and done. So after this year, since you want to make Mexican Independence Day a staple in the UFC calendar, is it going to be kind of like a battle between you and Al Heyman to see who gets that date first every year?
No,
T-Mobile?
I don't. Listen, I don't think it's a battle. Listen, I said props to Al Heyman. He slid right in there before we were even done with the weekend and took the date from us without MGM even telling us. So, I told you before, Bill Hornbuckle's trying to fix this whole thing. That's why he gave me the Sphere this year, and I'm sure we'll get it figured out.
So, Dana, just to clarify on that, so the way it worked out was you did your show at the T-Mobile, then MGM gave that date away for the next year.
And when I say MGM, it's the guys who run the arena who have been literally disrespecting us since day one of the relationship. So now Bill Hornbuckle, the guy who runs MGM, had to get in the middle of this thing and try to fix it. And that's how I ended up at the Sphere. It's a one and done. we'll be back with MGM, and hopefully, you know, Bill can figure this thing out between us and the fucking guys that run the arena.
When they're offering the gate, though, so they're giving the date away and then offering the gate on top of it, doesn't that feel like an extra personal, like, we're definitely...
Extra kick in the balls? Yeah, that's what they do. This is what these guys have done for the last however many years. It's fucking crazy. There's a documentary coming out. I lay this shit all out in the documentary. You'll hear every little detail of what has happened with us in the MGM over the last 23 years. It's fucking crazy. You'll be like, what?
Is it just because they have like a big history with boxing and they look at the UFC as the contender? Like what?
I just think that the guy who runs the arena has been a complete douchebag to us for 23 years. That's what I think. But, you know, again, Bill Hornbuckle's in the middle of this and trying to fix it.
Chris Balderson?
Whoever it is.
Dana, just to clarify.
Whatever his name is. Yeah.
Dana, just to clarify, before UFC Noche last year, before the fight weekend was over, they went and got it?
Yeah. Yeah, they got the date. So after that event, I told my guy Pete, get this date locked up next year. Again, it was already gone. It was already gone. Never called us, never asked us, never said, hey, we're giving the date away, never said, fuck you, never said anything.
Do you think
we called and it was already gone.
Do you think they really see you as a big competition then for them to work it that way?
Who, MGM?
Canelo's guys.
Nah, listen, you know, Heyman and Canelo are just doing their thing. You know, those guys, props to them. Good for them that you guys could actually slide in and steal the date from us that easily without a phone call, without anything. Just, you know, good for you. I would too if that's what I could do, right? But that's just a sliver of the disrespect that these guys at the arena have shown us over the last however many years. It's crazy.
If the business relationship has soured that much, have you looked at other possible sites in Las Vegas that aren't run by them?
You know, our deal will be up eventually, and we'll have to figure that out. But that's what I keep telling you. Bill Hornbuckle is in the middle of this thing, trying to figure it out and make it better.
Just I know you're a betting guy, so just to kind of lighten the mood, what would be? Do you think you'll get a bigger gate than Canelo?
Who knows? MGM's guaranteeing the gate.
Do you think you'll
Who knows what the gate will really be?
Do you think you'll get more pay-per-views?
I don't know. Listen, what I'm focused on that weekend is putting on a show that nobody's ever seen before. I'm more concerned about this show is so complex and there's so many different moving pieces to this thing being seamless and going off the way that I want. I'm more focused on that than any of this other MGM bullshit. So
I know you said this months ago that you'd already spent $17 million. Is that figure still accurate, or has it escalated?
We're at 20 now.
And how much is it per test run? Because I heard somebody in the UFC say it was $1 million every time to do a test run. Is that accurate?
This is an expensive show. This is an expensive show. And we have to move in there because they have other things going on. And when we go in there and rehearse, we're in there like from 1 in the morning until 7 in the morning rehearsing. So this is a beast, and I'm way more focused on all that stuff than all this other MGM shit or what they're doing or who's fighting that night. And that is what it is, you know. And we'll figure all that shit out after this event.
Thanks, Dana.
Thank you.
I remember with the Noche UFC last year at the T-Mobile, you guys did the outdoor ceremonial weigh-ins, and you were able to kind of use the outdoor area. I don't know if it was asked already. Are you guys trying to do anything along those lines over by the Sphere or anything like that? That whole outdoor ceremonial weigh-ins where the fans were able to kind of interact out there?
We actually have a town hall on Thursday at UFC, walking our employees through the whole event at the Sphere, and we're going to use that town hall to sort of figure out how we will lay this out for the media. It's going to be like our practice run with the staff on Thursday. So after Thursday, I'll have more answers for you guys on a lot of stuff.
Is John Jones the pound-for-pound GOAT?
Did what?
Is John Jones the pound-for-pound GOAT?
He's the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, and he's the GOAT. And you all know this. Numbers don't lie.
Does he have pictures of you?
I saw that on the internet, too. Are you guys that fucking stupid? You can't be that fucking stupid to think that John Jones is not the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world and the GOAT. But maybe you are.
He's not going to talk to any of us either, because right now...
What do you mean?
Because he's watching this, and we're all saying, questioning you, and...
Yeah, question me. Who's better than John Jones? Who's pound for pound better than?
No, okay, John.
At what point does activity come into play, right? I mean, we all agree there is nobody better than John Jones. He's the greatest of all time. There's no question about it. But at some point when you're looking at rankings, they do have to represent what's happening in the organization at that moment, right at that time. And in the past 3 years, he's had one fight.
And you thought he lost to Reyes.
Huh?
And when he fought Reyes, you said you thought Reyes won the fight.
He didn't win the fight. John Jones did.
But you said you thought he won the fight.
Who gives a shit? I'm not the fucking judges. The guy didn't win he didn't lose the fight. And the one loss that he has is from a referee that should have never been a referee in a million years. He's never lost. We were just talking tonight, these kids that come in here that are undefeated, you know how hard it is to stay undefeated? John Jones went through murderer's row. And when you talk about activity, and he's fought one time, but John Jones was supposed to fight. If John Jones was sitting on the couch and saying, yeah, I don't know when I'm going to fight again, then he's definitely not in the pound-for-pound discussion right now. He was scheduled to fight, and he got injured. He is an active fighter. He is absolutely an active fighter. And when you talk about pound for pound, and I don't want to shit on any of my other guys, but who is it right now? Islam? Islam, many people believe, lost to the guy who's a weight class below him. Is that how pound for pound works? Many people, including people in this room.
But he got the win. It doesn't matter what we
say. You're
That's
absolutely right. But he fought a weight class down. He fought a weight class down. John Jones fought a weight class up. And let me tell you what, when all the guys were in there, you had the John Jones, the Anderson Silvas, and the George St. Pierres. I know who wanted to fight who and who didn't want to fight who. And John Jones has always been willing to fight everybody. You know what I mean? The only real mark with me, with John Jones, it was his fucking team that he was with at that time, who I could tell you 50 fucking stories about. The Chael Sonnen fight. When they were refusing to fight Chael Sonnen. You know what I mean? But other than that, John Jones has fought everybody that's ever been put in front of him. He went through murderer's row, and if you look at who he fought at the time when he fought them, look at the record of the guys combined that he fought. And the list just goes on and on.
That makes him the greatest fighter of all time, not the greatest active fighter, because he is not an active fighter. He has fought one time in over 4 years.
He is an active fighter. He just got injured. He was going in.
But he hasn't fought.
And he was going in to fight at heavyweight again.
Okay.
A weight class above.
But that's
and he fucking destroyed the guy who was the best guy in the division.
But that's an unfortunate thing. And I think everybody here, if he was active, if he had fought one more time, would say he's number one.
He was active. He blew his fucking shoulder out in training and then had to recover and is still coming back and fighting that fight.
So here's the argument. You could say that we don't know anything.
John Jones is
we
active.
Don't know. No, see, that's what you do. You talk over us, so we can't answer.
I apologize. You go ahead.
So if he fought and we don't put him number one, then you have that argument to say you don't know what the hell you're talking about. We are all, I think everybody in this room is saying he's the greatest fighter of all time. And I think most people in this room would say he is the number one pound for pound fighter of all time. But you can't just sit on your laurels from something you did 3, 4, 5 years ago.
When was the Cyril Gane fight?
Since Islam, he hasn't fought in 18 months.
Okay.
Okay, and it's going to be 20 months by the time he gets in the ring. So that, assuming he gets in the ring, right? We don't know he's going to be healthy. So all I think everybody is saying, and the argument against you, is the fact that most people who do pound for pound lists have a 1-year cutoff unless they're, they had a fight scheduled at the time. So John fell out of pound for pound list because it was over a year and he didn't have a fight scheduled.
He did.
He doesn't have
he did have a fight scheduled, and he got injured.
And so okay.
And now he does have a fight scheduled now.
How many times did we ask you, Dana, is he fighting? I don't know what's happening with John Jones. Just like you say about Conor now, right?
I did not say I don't know what's happening with John Jones. What I said was John Jones is injured, and he's recovering from his injury. Fucking common sense. Everybody knows that. This guy just said he knows he's fighting in fucking November. Will I announce it? I said I'll announce it when the whole card is, but everybody knows he's fighting. It's fucking silly. And I don't know what this game is with everybody, but John Jones is the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Until this fucking guy, and he has been he hasn't fought, what'd you say, 18 months since the Cyril Gane fight?
18 months and then 1 in 4 years.
So 18 months, he moved up and he fought Cyril Gane and destroyed him in a weight class above him, who was the #1 guy in the world, and in the UFC. Then we book another fight. He's training for the fight, blows his shoulder out, which means he's still active, gets surgery, recovering, and is scheduled to fight in November. He is an active fighter.
I think it's kind of like Bill Clinton's definition of is.
I don't even know what that means, but...
that was when he was getting impeached, and then the lawyer, but forget that.
No, but he has been an active fighter. He's active. It's not like John Jones was not active and was not accepting fights. And I also believe, because I know how John Jones is, John Jones fights and beats Stipe. If he wins, I think he fights Aspinall. So it's all just, this is some little fucking game we're all playing that I don't understand.
Well, and
he is the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, and he's the greatest of all time.
Point of this
and you don't have to like him. It's not like me and John Jones are fucking, buddy.
Well, I like John Jones, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, I will say that I've had my share of arguments with him just like you have, but I like him. But I think the last thing is, too, who he is fighting, right, coming up. So everybody in this room thinks Aspinall is more highly rated than Stipe at this point. Stipe's reputation is fantastic, but he has not won a fight since he beat DC in 4 years. So that also plays into it. Partially a factor when you have a guy like Aspinall knocking Sergey Pavlovich out in a minute, Curtis Blades in less than a minute, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
That's just me.
No, I don't disagree with you. But here's the flip side to that. So what do? A guy who's looked at as the greatest heavyweight in the UFC, right? This fight set up, John Jones gets hurt. Not his fault. He has to wait and go back into fucking training camp again. He was training. So do I just yank it away from Stipe and say, hey, go fuck yourself and sit on the sidelines for 2 more years? Or you know what I mean? If I did that, you guys would be like, oh, you fucking disrespected the greatest heavyweight ever. And you know what I mean? So would the fucking fans. So I should just shit on Stipe because John got hurt and not make the fight that he was already supposed to fight.
We'll end it here, but I'll talk to you later.
What?
Okay, then the answer to that would be you should have had Stipe fight Aspinall or somebody else, right? In the interim, because how do you qualify for a title shot when you have not fought since 2021 and you lost that fight? How do you qualify for a title shot sitting out for over 3 years and just sitting on the sidelines waiting when you're trying to say who is the best fighter in the world? Should you not be active and be competing and be beating? You said yourself, and Hunter has said, that the UFC heavyweight division is the best it's ever been, right? So should he not be challenging himself against those fighters? So when John got hurt, instead of saying Stipe versus Pavlovich, Aspinall versus Pavlovich, why not Stipe versus Pavlovich or Stipe versus Aspinall at that point? That would be the argument.
So I have two legends in the sport that wanted to fight each other. These guys are lined up. One guy gets hurt. And this is the fight that they both want. What do you do? You don't show the guys the respect. And I guarantee you this, if Stipe wins, Stipe's going to retire. You know what I mean? This will be Stipe's last fight. So are you, the media, telling me I should just tell Stipe to fuck off and, good luck to you, Stipe. Right off into sunset. Go fight some fires, and that's a wrap for you, buddy, because John got hurt. Or do I show this guy the respect that I should show him and give them both the fight that they want? You know, that's the position I'm in. We had this thing lined up, and again, like you said, if Stipe was 32 years old, then yeah, then that's probably what we do. But this is probably Stipe's last fight, win or lose, and I'm not going to disrespect the guy. He accepted the fight, he was ready for the fight, and John got injured. If you don't think that I wouldn't love to just say, hey, let's do fucking Stipe and one of the top 3 heavyweights, and then we do John Jones versus, it would be great. But we already agreed to this with these guys. We already had a deal, and John got hurt. It's not like I'm trying to pull off some fucking, fight nobody wants to see, or not give Aspinall's a young, badass dude. He's got plenty of time. These guys are going to fight in November. And he will fight John Jones if he wins. I almost guarantee you that. And if Stipe wins, then we'll figure out what's next for Aspinall.
So if Stipe were to happen to win, does Aspinall become the full champion given you? Well,
then who knows too? Let's see if Stipe wins and Stipe feels great. Maybe Stipe does take the fight. I don't know. I'm just saying, me right here now, I think that if Stipe wins, Stipe probably retires. But you never know until the fight's over. Anything can happen in a fight. Stipe could go in there and win spectacularly, and he beats the greatest fighter of all time, and maybe he wants to test himself against Aspinall, and maybe the money's right, and it all lines up, and he wants it. Who knows? But I made a deal with these 2 guys that they could fight each other, and one guy got hurt, now he's ready, and the fight's going to happen. And John Jones is the pound-for-pound best fighter.
Congratulations, Malcolm, to your right. So did you go to sleep last night and have that vision in your head there?
Yeah, so I just got to give a big kudos to my team, man. The past 3-4 fights, we've had a game plan and a vision for the exact way we was going to finish fights, and the same thing happened tonight. Working the jab, he's got a leaping, open, wide left hook, and coming over the top with the right hand. I had a couple interviews before the fight, and I even told him it was going to be a right hand, and I saw it and I landed it.
Did he, he kind of just left it out there. He didn't really zing it at you. Is that kind of why you were able to connect as hard as you did?
Absolutely, man. He has a very rhythmic kind of style. He throws things in a very similar way on the same type of cadence, and that's what I was looking for. We saw it many times in the footage, and when he came out in real time and put it out there after I worked it on mitts over and over and over, it was there for me.
After you knock him out and you have to sit there through, 3 more fights and all that stuff, you have to know you're in, but what's the emotion as you're sitting there? Were there butterflies? Was it like, oh my God? Because you just want to know, right?
I'm still in a dream right now. I'm up here with a microphone in my hand that got the UFC on it, answering questions with these lights and cameras, man. It's unreal. I still feel like it's a dream. So it's going right now, and whenever it stops, I guess I'll get back in training camp and wait for a phone call.
So you're from Augusta, Georgia. So I didn't know MMA was big down there.
It's not. It's about to be though. Yeah, the MMA scene in Augusta is still developing for sure, man. And what I did today, I really hope can elevate the MMA scene in Augusta and uplift the community where I'm from.
What has the struggle to make it been like, right? Everybody has their own stories. They're coming up through the regional scene. For you, have there been times you wanted to quit, or has it been a difficult journey to get to where you are?
Yeah, man, that's, difficult is an understatement, and I don't doubt that anybody that gets to this level fights hard to get here. But man, I'm 30 years old. I didn't start training until I was 22. I didn't have any jiu-jitsu, wrestling, boxing, not a single lesson at any school or from any coaches. And the guys that taught me to throw my first punch, I stayed with these guys and I made it to the big stage with these guys. And you talking about, 7 years in my late adult life, I was going to wrestling practices as a grown man after work, getting put on my back by high schoolers. It was insane. And just all the things around it, working a full-time job, I'm in construction, I'm a pipe fitter. Hard work days, 10-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts, and finding time to still get in there, hoping that my family, my friends understand my lack of ability to keep my connection with them tight because I'm trying to pursue something so demanding alongside trying to pay my bills. It's been a tough 7-8 years, man, and like I said, it's a dream right now.
What made you do it at 22 years old? Because you got to think at 22 years old, the odds of you making the major leagues, right, are probably pretty low. So what was it that spurred you to try?
I wanted to get in shape. I was getting fat. So I was getting fat, man, and I walked into this gym so I could learn to defend myself and get in shape at the same time. And I just didn't know that the team that picked me up was going to convince me I could do something great. They made me believe in myself. They gave me these skills, this confidence, and they built me as a fighter and a man. And that's who I am today, and that's why I accomplished what I did.
How long was it before you were good? Because you hear stories of people walk in the gym and they get beat up and they're discouraged, but they keep coming back the next day. For you, how was it? Were you good right away, or were you getting pummeled?
No, I got dropped on my first day. My coaches, they gave me the work, and they still give me the work. And it was a while before I feel like I got good. I took a kickboxing match, a little less than a year after training. And when I made my MMA debut a year after that, around 23 years old, I knocked out a high school state champ wrestler, and that's when I started realizing, I really had it.
Not that this has anything to do with MMA, but have you ever played Augusta National?
No, but my coach, Jake, works there, and he is the plug. We've been traveling the country, and that's the first thing he throw at him. That he work at that golf course, and we good after that.
Malcolm, I just wanted to ask you, man, you had a long amateur career, and a lot of fighters nowadays, 1, 2, maybe 3 amateur, and then they go pro. Why did you take your time fighting so many amateur fights?
The simplest answer is because my coaches made me. You know what I mean? I was tired of fighting for free, but my coaches, they wanted me to develop to a certain level before I went pro, and that's been their approach across the board with all of our amateur athletes. And when I went pro, I hit the ground running. I got like 6, 7 fights back to back to back. I was getting knockouts and finishes and being able to take tough fights and put on good performances, and the long wait paid off on the back end. So
yeah, so you said it's hindsight's 20/20, and it all made sense.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
And 2 years into your pro career, you're in the UFC. Did you have a vision that would happen, or is it just still kind of fucking surreal?
It's still surreal. I'm telling you, man. This was not in the cards for me. Like 7 years ago when I walked in that gym, you wasn't gonna point at me and say he's gonna be in the UFC. You know, I was so far from it because of the person who I was and the way I grew up and all the things around it. So to be here today is just it's incredible, man. It's surreal.
It's a quick finish. Relative, you look like you took no damage. I know it was a long camp to get here, but when would you like to turn around and have your UFC debut?
As soon as a good opportunity comes across. I'm waiting by the phone. My coach is gonna listen to the offers. My coach is Jason House, gonna sit down and get back in there and try to do another knockout.
So ASAP.
ASAP.
Congrats.
Thank you, brother.
Malcolm, the beginning of your journey sounds very exhaustive, not only physically but mentally, probably emotionally. When you kind of look back on all that, what do you feel like helped you keep moving forward, not giving up and feeling like this is worth pursuing?
My team, my coaches, my camp, my team, I've been around the same guys since I started. And aside from that, you know, I found a family in them. You know, I experienced like lake trips, getting on boats, tubing with them for the first time. I've never done none of that stuff. You know, so like even holidays, just the way that they celebrate and they bring me everywhere. They treat me like their own. You know, Pops called me one of his boys, just like the other ones, you know. And when I was going through all my dark times, you know, relationships, financial problems, everything like that, they picked me up. And the thing that we held on to was fighting together. You know, that's really my family. Whether I was fighting or not, they was gonna be family to me. So it being the thing that we had, you know, they made me believe that it was gonna be worth it. And here we are.
I'm sure after tonight, a lot of people know your name. But prior to tonight, if you were to describe yourself and introduce yourself to somebody, what would you say who you are?
I'm just a guy from Augusta, you know, Augusta, Georgia, 706, born and raised, you know, and I'm working, paying my bills. Yeah, 706 on my own, working to pay my bills, and I'm training at night with the bros. And that's really all it was. And now it's become, you know, me getting a knockout on the UFC platform, and it's such a blessing.
Congrats on the contract.
Thank you, brother.
Well done, sir. Congrats on the win.
Thank you, thank you.
I'm kind of curious. You see guys get that one-hitter quitter, but then just go for this follow-up, almost like the Jorge Masvidal, Ben Askren thing. Like, you know he's out. And then the follow-up shots. How were you able to keep that restraint?
I'm gonna be honest with you. That was probably the first time I hit somebody and just didn't follow up, you know, to secure the win. But I was just in a different mental place tonight. I felt that it was the shot I envisioned, and when it happened, I just knew it was over. I saw the way he fell down, and I didn't even feel the need to, you know, adjust my stance for ground and pound. I just knew it was done and over with, and yeah, no follow up needed.
That's what's up, man.
Thank you.
There'll be so many woulda, couldas, people watching you right now like, man, he started late, like what you were talking about with Kevin. What's the message to the people who might be 22 or older? You know, Antonio Tarver started even later than that, still became a champion. Now you're here. What's the message to that little boy, little girl that says, nah, I'm okay? Or an adult human being that's like, it's too late for me, but you just proved so many people wrong.
Man, I've been saying this for a long time, and I believe it in my heart that with the right work ethic and the right people around you, you can accomplish anything in the world. You know, if those people around you are there to pick you up, motivate you, and push you in the right direction, and make sure all your adversity affects you in the right way, and you put the work ethic behind it, you stay consistent, man, you can do anything. Because, like I said, this wasn't in the cards for me, and I'm here today, so I'm grateful.
That's awesome, man. And just for fun, besides the congratulations, big fight coming up in your weight class, Merab or Sugar Sean? Give me a little pick analysis.
I want to see Sean O'Malley do it.
Right on, my man. Congrats and welcome to the UFC, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank y'all.
merchan. Opa. Olha, colocou direitinho, tá? Ó, na câmera. Perfeito. Não vou traduzir.
I see you got the howler head already too. Is that part of the win, the contract?
Já tá com a garrafa de Howlerhead, faz parte da vitória? O contrato já vem com uma garrafa de cachaça do chefe?
Uai, veio aqui, vamos usufruir, né? Tem que aproveitar hoje.
Listen, it came, might as well just use it and just enjoy it and savor it. Tonight's the night to enjoy.
Yes, sir.
Microfone.
Congrats on that.
Teu microfone tá ali, ó. Beleza.
Tremendous finish, absolute highlight. Walk me through that. How did you see this opening, make that read? Because it was just split second and you just were able to land a vicious shot.
Tremendo no final de luta, espetacular. Você poderia repassar para a gente o que aconteceu, porque foi realmente assim, uma porrada que ali acabou tudo.
Cara, eu acho que eu repeti muito no treino. Eu acho que o que a gente faz no treino, a gente faz na luta, entra no estado de automático e foi o que aconteceu hoje.
I repeated that a lot in training. I think what we do in training, we do in the fights, you get to an automatic state of doing things, and what I trained, it happened tonight.
With the fight, once it plays out in your head versus what's really happening in real time, you have to react. You don't even have time to think. How much was it in comparison close to what you envisioned coming here again, or did it just kind of go as you planned and prepared for?
Com uma segunda luta vindo aqui, fazendo isso de novo, muitas vezes a gente se prepara, a gente imagina, a gente visualiza. Como que foi essa luta comparado com aquilo que você visualizou, planejou, aquilo que você queria, que você imaginava?
Cara, na verdade, eu já lutei com esse cara na minha cabeça, já tem uns 2, 3 meses que eu venho lutando com ele, e todas as vezes que a gente lutava, ele estava no chão estendido. Então, hoje foi só a realização de toda a visualização que eu tive.
You know, I think I fought this dude like every day for the last 2 months, basically, in my mind. And every single time I fought him in my mind, he was just there flat on the ground. And I think today was just, making those thoughts and dreams come true.
Who got the first call? Or have you had time to talk to anybody? If so, once you knew, like, I'm here, Dana said my name, let's go talk to media.
Não sei se você teve tempo de falar com alguém até agora, mas assim, para casa, quem que recebeu a primeira ligação?
Cara, a primeira ligação foi para o meu pai e para minha mãe. Eu fiz uma promessa quando eu saí de Uberlândia, que é a minha cidade, quando eu fui me mudar para São Paulo. E quando eu saí de lá, eu fiz uma promessa para minha mãe e disse que em busca do meu sonho, e está acontecendo. Então, nada mais justo do que serem os primeiros a receber minha ligação.
To my mom and to my dad, my parents, because I made a promise when I left Uberlândia, my home city, to go to São Paulo. I told them I was going to chase my dream and make my dream come true. So nothing more fair than actually giving them a call to let them know that this happened.
That's amazing. The show continues to roll on. Season 8. Not only has it produced some household names and stars, but some champions in Jamal Hill and Sugar O'Malley, who's fighting soon. With seeing guys like that, how much more motivation does it give you to let you know that, yes, I can reach the top of the mountain, and not just get there, but stay there in this crazy weight class you're about to enter?
8ª temporada do Contender Series, show que já não só produziu nomes que a galera conhece, mas também produziu campeões. A gente primeiro tem que falar do Jamal Hill, que foi o primeiro. O Sean O'Malley agora, que já conquistou o cinturão e está defendendo agora. Como é que você vê isso no sentido de, poxa, olha, essa galera fez, posso fazer também, é só parte do negócio. Agora, o que vem depois? Como é que é isso para você fazer parte disso?
Cara, eu acho que se alguém já fez, eu posso fazer de novo. E se ninguém nunca fez, eu posso ser o primeiro. Eu treino muito, acredito muito no meu trabalho. Treino uma das maiores academias do mundo. Então, pode esperar grandes coisas.
I always think if it hasn't been done, well, if it has been done, I can do it too. And if it hasn't been done, I can be the first to do it. I train a lot. I'm prepared. I train in one of the best gyms in the world. So why not do it?
Love it. And last for me, in the perfect world, when do we see you? Is it 2024? And where would you like to debut?
Mundo perfeito, você pode escolher quando você vai lutar, contra quem você vai lutar e quando. Nós estamos em agosto de já terminando agosto de 2024. Quando que você faz a tua estreia no UFC? Onde, contra quem, como é que é?
Cara, eu quero lutar o quanto antes, mas tem um pirata aí que tá batendo nos brasileiros e quem sabe não me joga numa dessa.
Man, I want to fight as soon as possible, and there's a pirate that's been hitting on Brazilians. So why did you throw me that pirate?
Can't wait to see it. Congratulations, sir.
So a quick one. Congratulations. How tough was it to not get the contract last year after getting the win? And then, Shoot a Box sends fighters to the UFC all the time. They don't have to go through the Contender Series, but you had to sit there, watch your teammates, and kind of just wait for your next turn. So how frustrating was that?
Cara, como é que foi para você ter feito o trabalho da última vez, ter vindo aqui, passado por tudo aquilo, ter conquistado uma vitória e não sair com um contrato, e aí você esperar? Você vem de uma linhagem da Shooterbox que, poxa, coloca um monte de gente no UFC, inclusive, às vezes, até passando direto, batido pelo Contender Series. E você esperou pacientemente para ter a tua oportunidade. Como é que foi essa experiência de esperar e pacientemente e agora voltar?
Cara, no início foi um pouco frustrante. Por quem que eu ganhei? Pô, eu ganhei de um cara que era 3 vezes campeão mundial do maior evento de luta em pé do mundo. Bati nele em pé, fui superior em pé, consegui ganhar a luta. Realmente foi um período muito difícil, não consegui entender, mas eu aprendi a descansar, descansar em Deus, e percebi que não é no meu tempo, é no tempo dele, e as coisas acontecem do jeito que tem que acontecer. Isso eu carrego comigo e as coisas estão fluindo, natural.
Man, it was frustrating because you think about this. I came here, I did my job, I actually beat this guy. I beat a guy who was a 3-time world champion in the World Signature Tournament in kickboxing. So I had to rest and just go back to learn that I needed to rest. I learned how to rest and to rest in God and to understand that things don't happen in my time, it happened in His, and they just so happened.
The most important question is, for your UFC debut, are we going to see the blonde hair?
E a pergunta mais importante para a sua estreia no UFC, vai ter aquele cabelo platinado ao box?
Pode ter certeza, vou lançar o Nevou e vamos fazer história.
You can be sure. I'm gonna throw out that it snowed, as we like to say. Just I guess it snowed in the mountain, and let's make history.
What do you have against pirates?
O que você tem contra os piratas, meu camarada?
Eu não tenho nada, ele que está batendo nos brasileiros. Ele é um ótimo lutador em pé. Eu provei que tem uma qualidade ótima em pé também. Por que não fazer acontecer?
I have nothing against him. I just think that he's been hitting Brazilians. I think he's a great fighter standing. I think I've proved myself, and I do have a lot of quality in my game standing as well. So why not make it happen? Gostou? Venceu, conquistou a galera.
Good. Thank you. Sentado a gente em pé. Deixa eu lá, vamos bater. Thank you, thank you.
Congratulations, that was an awesome fight. From the pace that was set in the first round, I was expecting like a finish, or at least to not see so much energy in the second and third rounds. How did you manage to keep that going for, what turned out to be a 3-round war?
First of all, do I need that?
Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, man, that looks good here. And excuse my lips, I just had Botox injection, so.
You should see the other guy.
Oh, fuck. What was your question again, please?
How do you have the energy to go through a 3-round war and match the first round ferocity you had in the second round and third round and pull out a win like that?
I did everything right in my preparation, and I know my body, so I know how much I can push or not.
How banged up are you right now? You mentioned about the lips. Like, how long a recovery do you think you'll have?
In 2 weeks, I can fight again. So it's just the lips and some bruises. It's nothing bad.
When you started to see the damage that you'd caused on the eyebrow, did that become a target for you to kind of hit over and over again? Because the wound just looked fucking gross by the end of the fight.
No, it didn't become a target because what can happen? The cut was on the side, not right into the eye, and I don't want to win by doctor stoppage. I want to win by stoppage or not.
And just to follow up what you said with Alan, that's amazing, by the way, because so many people, any weight class, male, female, would have just took that kind of an easy way out, or just target, make it bleed to where they would have waived it. But I think to your point, had you won that like that, maybe you don't get the contract.
It could have been. So, but I stayed focused on my game plan and tried to catch him with the other things that I had planned. I didn't look too much to that cut. I just saw that it looked bad.
For sure, and you made it look worse. What didn't look bad and was absolutely as brutal as it was beautiful was your 15 minutes. What was the game plan going into this fight? But also, what was just pure heart and the will to win? Because you guys just went at it like there was a championship on the line. And thank you for that. We were treated to one of the best fights in 8 seasons.
I really appreciate that you see our fight with those high expectations. So you see it in that quality. I really appreciate it. So please, once again, I'm so sorry.
So okay, the first part, how much of this was game plan? What was your strategy? What did you set up?
Pure heart. So it was 50-50. The first part, I executed my game plan, but I didn't feel that good. I was a little bit stiff. I can be much faster and much better. And this is where my heart came into the game, and I pushed through it. At the end of the third round, he catched me with a lever hook, and I was really like, oh, fuck. He saw that, and he tried to finish me, but I was like, no, you're not going to finish me. I'm too strong mentally, and I showed that.
How was the energy in there? Because we as media and fans got to feel that. It's something special you can't even describe, but how was it like being in there? Because once this was over, there was a standing ovation thanking you guys for this magnificent moment. How was that, if you could put it into words after you, regardless of who won, that moment exactly when the last bell sounded and you knew I was part of something special?
To be honest, I didn't know that I was part of something so special, as you guys tell me, and I really appreciate it. I was just thinking, okay, what, I did that wrong, that was not perfect, that was not perfect. Okay, I'm gonna have to learn this and that better, and next time I'm gonna perform better. So this was my mind.
Yes, sir. And you mentioned to Alan that you'll be back in 2 weeks, hopefully, of course. What would be the debut? Do you want to take the rest of 2024 to rest, or do you want to get back in here? Apex fight, arena fight? What's the plan?
Everything what UFC has in plan for me, they just have to offer me. I'm gonna talk with my coaches and we decide. But I'm ready. I don't need rest that much.
That's awesome. And last for me, who got the call yet? Have you been able to talk to mom, dad, any family member to let them know, hey, I did it. This is for you. This is for us. I did it.
Yeah, I already had family members with me, my coaches, and the whole team, my fiance, my brother, my manager, Luca Messina, and all other guys that are here. So a part of the family is with me, and my parents, my sister, and my nephew are at home looking. When I'm done here, I'm going to call them.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on the win. Thank you for a tremendous fight, sir.
Thank you very much.
I just have one question. It looked like when Dana was talking about your fight, and he was also giving credit to your opponent, I think we saw you applauding that, there was a lot of respect shown for you. When you go through a fight like that and you see that everybody gave everything, do you form a sort of a bond with your opponent? Do you feel like you've been through a war? Is there a special bond between now you and your opponent after you've done something like that?
I have a special bond with my opponent also before the fight because we have the same dream. We worked for the same dream, and I respect him. I know what it costs to get here and to get on that level. And after such a war, yes, of course, it's gonna get. I respect him, and maybe we're gonna train together in the future. Who knows?
So I really enjoyed what I saw tonight. I thought it was one of the best fights I've seen in the Contender series, probably the whole, in history on this show. Dana White called you a dog. Is this an accurate reflection of how you fight? Can fans expect you to fight like that throughout in the UFC, or would you show different layers?
Once again, thank you very much for your words. And he called me a dog. I think that's cool. I'm for sure a dog, but I prefer to go, I don't say I'm a samurai, but I prefer to go that way, with respect, with honor, and to be humble. But when it's about to step in that octagon, I'm a fucking dog, and you can expect always just fire, and I always try to knock them out.
Awesome. Congrats on the win. That was amazing.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Congrats on the big win, Andre. Welcome. What are the feelings like, the emotions after this an accomplishment to your career?
Андрей, поздравляем тебя с такой хорошей победой. Поделись, пожалуйста, своими чувствами, своими ощущениями после такого боя.
Ну, честно признаться, я устал. Мне было тяжело. Соперник сильный, он крепкий. Очень много его пробивал, но он не пробивался. Это меня утомило, так сказать. Ну а так, в целом, я очень рад, что удалось воспользоваться этой возможностью, которую предоставил мне Александр Шлеменко, и получить контракт с UFC.
To be honest with you guys, I'm tired, really tired. My opponent was really tough, and even though I felt that I did well in this fight, but I kind of got tired hitting him. I punched him so many times, I kicked him so many times, and yet he didn't go down, so props to him. But at the same time, I'm very happy. I'm very happy that all the hard work that I put on in this, towards this fight kind of paid off. So I'm really thankful to my coach, Alexander Shlemenko, for helping me out, and thanks to him, I'm here today talking to you guys.
Yes, sir. And we saw those hard 15 minutes. You obviously kind of alluded to being surprised that he was still in there. What was the talks in between rounds from you and your team to keep you composed and say, like, okay, you didn't get the finish, but stay, keep a good pace. That way you can go ahead and go the distance if need be.
Мы видели, какой это был тяжелый бой. Расскажи, пожалуйста, между раундами, когда ты общался с твоей командой, что они тебе говорили, какие мысли ты получал от них между раундами, что, может быть, они тебе говорили, что да, ты, допустим, ты его не сможешь финишировать, но продолжай делать то, что делаешь, или что-то поменять, то есть какие тебе давались советы между раундами?
Да, ребята, угловые тренера мои говорили мне то, что делая все то же самое, все получается, все заходит, все удары я попадаю, только не клинчевать. Но я заклинчал почему-то, ну, ничего страшного. Говорили не бороться, не клинчеваться, в принципе, а так в стойке все по плану шло, у меня все получалось, все залетало, и вот и результат.
So in between the rounds, my team were telling me that keep doing what you are doing. Everything works out really well. Just don't clinch with him. Don't try to wrestle with him. And that's exactly what I did. I clinched with him and I wrestled with him a little bit. Other than that, I think everything went pretty smoothly because I prepared to fight him standing up. And I think that my striking was pretty decent this night. I was able to land pretty much all the combinations that I planned to land initially. So I think everything I was doing pretty well.
Yes, sir. It sure was, because it helped set up other things, and your wrestling was very part of this whole strategy. What was this game plan going in, if that was it? And also, any added pressure being the main event of tonight's show, because you went on last, and we kind of were expecting fireworks.
Такой вопрос. Какой был вообще геймплан? Какой был план на бой перед выходом на бой? И второй вопрос. Ты ощущал ли ты какое-то дополнительное давление в связи с тем, что у тебя был главный бой вечера, что ты дрался последним?
Ну, план был показать себя в стойке, показать красочный, яркий бой, чтобы Дана Уайту это все понравилось это зрителям. Второй вопрос.
Второй вопрос. Ты ощущал какое-то дополнительное давление от того, что у тебя главный бой вечера?
Да, дополнительного волнения на самом деле не было. У меня было волнение от того, что я первый раз в вашей стране, и такой важный шаг в моей жизни, так скажем, спортивной. Вот от этого я испытывал волнение. А то, что главный бой, главный бой, ничего такого. Это просто бой.
Well, the game plan was to keep the fight standing because I know that I have an advantage there, so I was able to pretty much do what I wanted to do. Speaking of the pressure, because it was a main event fight, I didn't feel any pressure because of that. I didn't feel any pressure because it was a main event, but I really felt a lot of pressure because it was my first fight in the US. It was my first fight abroad. And right away, it was like a huge step in competition, huge step in my career from fighting in local promotions to fighting pretty much in the UFC. So my main goal was to not only to keep the fight standing, but also to make it spectacular, so all the fans would love it, and for Dana to like it and to give me the contract.
Even more amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That when you needed to deliver, you did. We don't get to see what happens in between, you coming over here to talk to us. Who got the first call? Especially if you're coming in here from, another country, you didn't have to. Who got that first call? You made sure to tell that person, I did it.
Такой немножко личный вопрос. Вот сразу после боя, кому ты, может быть, первый позвонил, или кто первый позвонил тебе, или кому ты хотел позвонить, чтобы сказать, я это сделал, у меня получилось?
Первый, конечно, Я не успел позвонить родителям, но самое первое уведомление пришло от моей девушки, и я ей быстренько позвонил, сказал ей, что спасибо, что болела, она очень рада, и сразу же перезвонил родителям, и потом уже моему старшему товарищу Александру Шлеменко. Все?
Well, I kind of wanted to call my parents right away, but my girlfriend was first. She first texted me, and so I talked to her a little bit, and then I called my parents right away to calm them down, to say that everything is good. And then I spoke with I called him my elder brother, Alexander Shlemenko, my coach, and he congratulated me with this win as well.
Well, awesome, sir. And last for me, how soon do we see you back here? You're entering a weight class where we have a new king, just defending his throne, DWCS. Just this past Saturday, we had a big fight at 185. How soon do we see you in here? And like an Apex fight, arena fight, what's the goal, what's the dream?
Такой вопрос, как скоро мы снова увидим тебя в бою, и где бы ты хотел в следующий раз подраться? Вот здесь на арене Apex или на более крупной арене. Вот. И тем более, что буквально в прошлые выходные был мегабой чемпионский в твоем весе между Адесани и DWCS. Так что, поделись своими планами. Когда бы ты хотел выйти, где выйти, может быть, с кем-то?
Хотелось бы следующий бой провести в декабре, под конец года. Ну, арена, честно сказать, без разницы. Мне вот в Лас-Вегасе очень понравилось. Мне понравилась эта арена, мне понравились отношения сотрудников к спортсменам, к нам, спортсменам, как они себя вели, как они нам подсказывали, рассказывали. То есть было все классно, мне здесь понравилось. Почему бы не провести здесь свой дебют в UFC уже в основном промоушене?
In ideal scenario, I would like to fight in December. And speaking of the venue, at this point, it doesn't really matter for me. As a matter of fact, I really liked it over here in Vegas. And I would like to take a second to appreciate the help of all the UFC employees, UFC staff, and all the athletic commission, because everybody was super helpful. And I could tell that they're top professionals of the really high class, and we were watched and we were taken care of, and there was like nothing that we wanted to have that we didn't have. So I really felt really great over here. So I wouldn't mind to fight in Vegas, maybe in Apex Arena as well. But as I said, at this point, the venue itself doesn't really matter.
Excellent. Yes, sir. There's levels. You made it to the top. Welcome to the UFC. Congratulations.
Ну, есть, конечно, уровни. Ты дошел в верхнем уровне, ты попал в UFC. Поздравляем.
Спасибо большое.